Hello, real estate friends. It's Dave Stokoe with your broker team here at Ran Life Real Estate. Wanted to take a quick moment to give you a broker tip on two issues I see coming up in the real estate purchase contract recently. The first one is item 21 in the REPC, time is of the essence. And essentially what this clause states, and you can see it highlighted on the screen, is that all dates like due diligence, financing and appraisal, settlement, the natural or given time frame, unless stated otherwise, is by 5 p.m. So if you have a due diligence deadline, say for October 3rd, that time is by 5 o'clock. So end of business, if you haven't come to agreement or presented objections or heard back or negotiated, once 5 o'clock is come and gone, that's it. So just keep in mind those timelines, that 5 o'clock is the natural ending time. Even if the contract date says, October 3rd, for example, it's not like you have until midnight. You have until 5 o'clock to get that done. And we've seen that come up twice in the last 2 weeks. So keep that in mind. Second item I wanted to bring up is around this issue of acceptance. So acceptance occurs only when all of the following have occurred. So the seller or the buyer has signed the offer or the counteroffer where noted. So they've checked it saying, yes, we accept or reject, in this case, accepting. And then the seller or buyer or their agent has communicated to the other party or the other party's agent that the offer had been accepted. So in order to have an accepted offer, you need those two things. You need to obviously have the written contract signed, or electronically signed, and you need to communicate it as well. There's an interesting conversation that I would refer you to. If you're not already friends with Curtis Bullock, the CEO of the MLS, on Facebook, I would encourage you to get on that link or be a part of that group, because he shares these legal tips that are super helpful, and this is where I go for a lot of information that I find helpful. And so he brings up a situation saying, let's suppose that you're a listing agent and an offer is presented to you for $400,000. Your seller decides to counter it at $405 and gives the buyer until 6 p.m. to accept. The buyer agrees to the terms at 3 o'clock, and then the buyer's agent gets tied up for the rest of the evening and isn't able to inform you, the listing agent, of the assigned acceptance. So his question is this: has the buyer accepted the offer? And then there's an interesting conversation that follows, where he's saying, no, not necessarily, because it wasn't communicated. And so I would go and read his remarks, but he says, although you can get into a lot of discussion around this, what constitutes communication, he suggests that direct contact with the other agent or their broker is best. So you can't just call and leave a voicemail and assume you're good to go, that you've communicated that. You need to get confirmation that they actually received that message. So he recommends calling, texting, emailing, and copying the broker as good best practices. And second to emailing, also, if you can use a software that shows you a confirmation of receipt or opening of that email, that's critical as well and can validate acceptance. So again, regarding acceptance, you have to obviously have the written contract, but you need to communicate it, and they have to receive that communication. And then remember your 5 o'clock timeline for all contracts and acceptance. Keep making it happen. We appreciate what you do. Thank you.